Hey everyone, this is Frank with your Pivot Boss Premium Market Outlook for crude oil futures for September 25th, 2014. Here's a look at crude oil in a daily time frame. We got the short squeeze today. This is exactly what we were talking about. Remember, I said that sellers were currently attempting to hold price below those 91.88s, which was composite VPOC. You saw a day here, and obviously they took it offered on this session as well. So you had at least 3 days worth of sellers that were attempting to keep that zone offered. And I mentioned earlier, I said this for a couple of days. I said if price pushes beyond those 92s and back above the monthly low here of 91.96 back here, you're likely going to see a short squeeze back to 92.88, the prior seed VPOC. It happened in one day, and it also surpassed. I talked about it going then to 93.55, followed by 94s. That was in the pre-market report just this morning, and you can see how prices actually traded much more favorable than that than the end-of-day chart suggests. We'll get to that in a moment when we get to the intraday chart, but for right now, look at how price is coiling here within this range. That tells you right there that there's energy building up in this range, and I talked about it before. I'm going to mark this out the next time you see it. We're going to have our key range that's going to be built out right here. Okay, we're going to have one of those triangles that's going to show us the midpoint, the key range, and once we get that, we're going to have our key expansion targets above and below to play off of. But once we do see expansion from this range, you're likely going to see a move that is equal to the distance of this range. So if this is a 5.5, 6 point range, you're going to see a 5.5 to 6 point move in the direction of the break. So we could be looking at, if we break above those 95.20s, a move right back to 100. If we fail to hold 90s, we could be looking at much more weakness to the downside, and we'll have those targets set up immediately. But for right now, look for price to continue higher into those 93.55s with a shot to test the edge of the range at 94. But given the fact that we've been coiling, you're likely going to see sellers come in and defend 94s for a pullback into 92.88 or even into the LVN or a retest of 91.88, because that's just the coiling nature of what's going on right now. So we'll keep an eye on this, and I'll let you know. But for overall, after you get a high range day like you just saw here, you're likely going to see a low range day in the upcoming session. So we might briefly test the highs into 93.55 and then fall back into 92.88, followed by a little bit of a pullback into the LVN, call it 65s. And then from there, it'll be a trading range day between 92.65 and 93.55, somewhere in that zone. Very similar to what you see here. So what I'm talking about is once you get that expansion boom up, you tend to see a little bit of a range form in the upcoming day. I'm betting that we see a little bit higher highs and then a pullback and form a range here. But in this session, it was an inside day range. So if we fail to get above 93.25, it could be an inside day range. And at that case, you're going to bring the bottom of your range to the top of the prior session. And that'll put you at about 92.20s up to 93s. That'll be your trading range. So keep that in mind. Now, if we drop down into the intraday chart for a moment, let's first take a look at the pre-market playbook that I pulled out this morning for you guys. I talked about right here that sellers were going to defend 92, which is this level, for a shot at breaking the stops at 91.18 and bringing it lower. Okay. I also said that the buyers were going to defend 91.10 for a shot at running the upside buy stops through 92 and into 92.84s, meaning buyers were going to defend right there for a shot at 92s and rallying it into 92.84s, really 92.88s. That's what I wanted to put, but I was going based off of this. And we did it today. Okay, so if we look at the actual chart of what happened, exactly what we wrote happened. The first bounce occurred right here and I said 91.10, it happened at 91.12, and then rallied into 92. Buying balances came in, sellers controlled it, and pushed price back to 91.20, which has been our key level, and buyers again pushed this thing back to 92, and then ran the stops above 92, and put it right to 92.84 and 92.88 and beyond, actually reaching the 200% expansion target of the range that we've been following over the last couple of days, and then finding a top. So that's basically what happened here. So basically, off of that buy signal from that chart we had, you had $1,000 per contract up, $1,000 per contract down, $1,000 per contract up. That's $3,000, plus another $1.25, which is $1,250 per contract. So $4,250 worth of moves here is just huge, all based off of these key levels we had this morning. And it shows you that those 9120s, which has been our key zone for some time, played out exactly as we were hoping. Here's 9120s I was talking about last week. I said that's what they're trying to hold. If they don't, you're going to get the move down. And if these sellers become trapped and price comes back and starts to hold above this zone, making it support as it did, that was a likely scenario to try and run the upside stops of those buyers or the sellers that came in to defend 92s. And remember, that's where it comes in the higher time frame analysis, where I talked about those 92s and said if those sellers don't get paid, their stops are going to come out. And there it is. So that's the analysis here. I wanted to give you a play-by-play of how that pre-market playbook played into today's session, so that when you see those playbooks, it helps you connect what could happen in the upcoming session so that you can play it more accurately. I mean, if I'm saying that buyers are defending a certain area, buyers are defending 9110s, that's the current action until those 9110s give out. If I'm saying that sellers are defending 92s, it's because they are, and that's the current action until it's done, until the stops are run. But you have to pay attention to how those parties and how that storyline develops throughout the day, and then you have to take the side of whoever's getting squeezed. You got to squeeze them out of their trades. In this case, sellers were trying to bang in through this 91.18, 91.10 zone, and they got squeezed. So this was fantastic the way it played out. A great teaching and learning opportunity so that we can all continue to improve our day-to-day trading skills. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how it plays out heading into Thursday's trading.